Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's celebration service. Please join in the singing of our opening song today.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go now. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. All right now, swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Welcome back. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the community at Unity of New Westminster in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. We would love to stay connected with you. So please subscribe to our newsletter or like us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that way you can always know what's going on in our community. The Unity movement offers ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is universal wisdom to be found in faith traditions, in song, in story, in poetry, all over the planet. We respect and honor every person's right to choose their own life path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. That connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, Spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of Spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of Spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
Me to my brother David. It's good to see you. My brother to me. It's good to be seen. It is indeed good to be seen. The need to be noticed is an enduring, universal need that has been part of the human experience for thousands of years. Jesus saw it when one day he attended a dinner and noticed that the guests jockeyed to be in the seat of honor, in the seats of honor. And in response to this observation, Jesus shared a parable which has become known as the lowest seat. It is found in Luke chapter 14, verses 7 to 14, and it reads like this. When he noticed how the guests chose the places of honor, he told them a parable. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not sit down at the place of honor, in case someone more distinguished than you has been invited by your host. And the host who invited both of you may come and say to you, give this person your place. And then in disgrace, you would start to take the lowest place. But when you are invited, go and sit down at the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he may say to you, friend, move up higher. Then you will be honored in the presence of all who sit at the table with you. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. What is the context of this story? It had been the Sabbath, and Jesus was attending a dinner at the house of a ruler of the Pharisees, someone who would have been seen as a mover and a shaker in the religious culture of the Jewish people. And although work was forbidden on a Sabbath, Jesus had healed a man earlier in the day, an action that was considered work. And so in this context where Jesus was likely quite aware that the Pharisees and the lawyers were watching him and potentially trying to catch him doing something wrong, Jesus watched this episode where people seated themselves at the banquet table to be closer, presumably, to the mover and the shaker, the host of the dinner. When I think of this story, I imagine the guests all running around like you'd see in a Benny Hill skit, each person jockeying for position to be at the head of the table or close to the head of the table. Every person jumping up and changing positions in a type of musical chairs which might appear quite silly to the uninvolved observer. And then I imagine a guest who simply arrives and chooses the seat which has the least prestige. From this place, the guest can be calm, observant, present to what is going on around him. From this place of not needing to prove oneself or being noticed, the guest can be less anxious. From this place of non-resistance and peace, the guest can enjoy the dinner. From this place of humility, the guest is actually more powerful. Well, how can we relate the story to us and to our lives? Let's look at a few different interpretations, recognizing that with stories like this, which appear so simple to begin with, that there is wisdom to be found at multiple levels and many different ways of gathering insight from stories such as these. The first one I want to talk about is this lesson of humility with respect to the idea of being willing to step down. I think of it as the harmony created by the second fiddle, also known as compare and despair. The story, with respect to humility, invites us to consider how we show up in our relationships, in our workplaces, in our everyday lives. And it invites us to ask a question, maybe several questions. Where do we demand attention? Where do we jockey and compete for recognition? Where do we strive to be noticed? Sometimes in our families, we want to be noticed and seen and celebrated and honored and made a fuss of by our parents or by our grandparents, by whoever we view as the most important person in the family. In our workplaces, we want to be recognized by the boss or the supervisor. And we want to see, and we want our coworkers and peers to notice that the boss values us. In our everyday lives, we want to be admired for what we do, for what we have, what we drive, what our education was, where we live. The need to matter is a universal human need. This story is an indicator of the futility of looking to all of those outside things for our validation. The problem with looking outside is this. Just when we think we've reached the head of the table, so to speak, someone or something else comes along with something new or something better, something more interesting, something more important. And we are knocked off of that pedestal. And this desire to be noticed can lead to a sense of ongoing low grade and sometimes not even so low grade anxiety. we can't rest because we don't know when we'll be bumped out of place. As a result, our relationships may be harmed as we act in a way that is superior at one point and then with hurt feelings when somebody else gets the limelight. We are never satisfied with where we are and what we have. And there's this level of underlying fear. As the Rolling Stones sang in their song, I can't get no satisfaction because I try and I try and I try and I try. This sense of anxiety, of discord, of fear is something that we could probably all identify with. Even the image of people moving around and competing for position is something that adds a sense of anxiety and lack of calm. It is not peaceful. It is not enjoyable. Well, science tells us that power is inversely proportional to resistance. Power is inversely proportional to resistance. That is, the more that we resist, the less power we have access to. In practical terms, I think of resistance as anxiety. And so that can be rewritten as the more anxiety we feel, the less power we have access to. The more something pushes our buttons, the less power we have access to. The more someone pushes our buttons, the less power we have access to. The more we expend our energy looking for outside approval, the less power we have access to. The more we compare, the more we despair. And rather than being empowered, we give others power over us and set ourselves up for continual disappointment and eventual exhaustion. What if we just showed up, content with who we are and where we are? What if we didn't need to prove ourselves to anyone? What if we were willing to take the seat with less limelight? Leonard Bernstein, the late conductor of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra, was once asked to name the most difficult instrument to play. Without hesitation, he replied, "The second fiddle." I can get plenty of first violinists, but to find someone who can play the second fiddle with enthusiasm, that's a problem. And if we have no second fiddle, we have no harmony. This excerpt is from an article in Today in the Word from 1997. Such great wisdom in it, isn't there? If we have no second fiddle, we have no harmony. When we are willing to play second fiddle, when we are willing to accept a lower seat, our lives will be more harmonious, more calm, more restful. We won't need to sit in a high-profile place and worry about whether someone else will deem whether we're good or not enough. Rather than expend our energy attempting to prove ourselves to others, rather than setting ourselves up for disappointment, rather than risking relationships where people are feeling unfriendly towards us. Jesus suggests that we come to the table in humility. Why? Because it is more empowering for us. When we come in peace and contentment, ready to be present for whenever we are called to step up and be recognized, we realize that we have nothing to prove. Rather than compare and despair, we can realize that we are enough. We are enough. And we can relax and let go and be grateful for the invitation. Appreciate what we have and enjoy life's experience. Be humble. Be willing to be the second fiddle and improve your harmony. Another insight from this story is be teachable. One of the most powerful lines in the story is, "Friend, move up higher." This is an invitation to continue to learn and to grow. Many years ago, I worked with a man in Saskatoon whose name was Arnie Foss. He was the kind of guy who had forgotten more than other people will ever learn. He was smart, he was gentle, and perhaps most important, he was approachable and willing to share what he knew. And among one of his favorite sayings was, "Every day I have something to learn. If I don't learn, then I'm going backwards." There's a humility in that thinking and an indicator of maturity in that thinking, because there is always more to learn. Intelligent people who are already competent in a field will often be the first to admit that they have more to learn, that even though they may know a lot, they don't know it all. They are teachable. They are open to discovery, ready to hear other points of view. On the other hand, people who are incompetent often don't realize how much they don't know. And rather than position themselves as willing to grow and move up higher in either their knowledge or their outlook, they claim a position and then they strive to hold it. When new knowledge or a more evolved approach is introduced, sometimes they are forced to step down in disgrace. When we are teachable, when we are open to learning, when we are willing to accept that we don't know it all, then we position ourselves to accept this invitation to move up higher. In this way, those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted and move up higher. And one of my favorite poems about life, one which includes wise thoughts about humility, is found in Rudyard Kipling's poem, If. It was a letter which he wrote for his son. It includes his philosophy about how to be a man of honor. It is one of our family's go-to poems
taught by my father and my mother. And it goes like this. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wide. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Be teachable. Accept the invitation. Friend, move up. And another look. And this is a metaphysical look. Metaphysical being the interpretation of people, places, and events as being aspects of ourselves. And in this way, we see the host as ourselves and each of the guests as ourselves as well. They are aspects of who we are. And if we think of it that way, then there are two lessons as well that we can learn. One is, be willing to tell the loud distractors to take a back seat and invite the greater good to step up. In the story, we get a sense of wasted effort as the guests move around and figure out how to be in the highest seat. The host is the person who eventually organizes them into their proper place. And I imagine that those guests at the table are our thoughts. The banquet is our life. And just like those guests, isn't it true that sometimes there are thoughts that scramble for position at the head of our table too? When we are frazzled, when we can't figure out which of the many things on our to-do lists should be done first, then we will not be calm and able to enjoy the feast of life. As I was writing this, I found all sorts of reasons to scurry around doing busy work, finding things to distract myself from writing. And even as I was in the process of scurrying and distracting myself, there was a calmer part of me observing myself and noticing my attempts to procrastinate and avoid doing the important task. As the host of the banquet of my life, it is up to me to choose who will be at the head of my table. It is up to me to realize that the thoughts and actions and contributions which are important but not urgent are sometimes moved to the lowest seat at my table. They can take the lowest seat and be overlooked and sometimes never get attention. It is up to me then, as the host of my banquet, to recognize that the busy work, the scurrying, will get done eventually and get attention eventually if it's important. And so I, the host, want to devote time and intention and attention to the important things that aren't urgent, that don't always demand my attention, even if there are louder and more visible distractions that help me to procrastinate and take my attention away. So consider that. How often do we allow those busy thoughts to scramble us and instead invite the important but not urgent thing that is on your plate, that is something waiting for recognition, to have its place and move up into your awareness and your action. Move the important but urgent thing up. And another corollary of that is this. When we allow ourselves time to be calm, we are more likely to recognize the times when we make ourselves small and we don't strive for the dream that we might have. We have the opportunity to step up and take a seat at the head of the table, to respond to the invitation, friend, move up higher, to do something daring and courageous that we may have longed for but are too humble for. When we arrive at the banquet calm, we, like Jesus, can observe the patterns and we can see the places where we choose the lowest seat, but where sometimes we actually want to move up. Sometimes those are avoidance patterns. And if we choose differently, we can give our dreams and longings permission to be exalted. There are times when we want to invite that second fiddle to play the melody, to take the lead, to invite that important but not urgent longing that we might have, to invite that into the limelight of our table. And so, when we come to the banquet with gratitude for the opportunity to attend, when we intend to enjoy the feast of life, rather than focus on where we sit, then we will realize that sometimes we are called to be the presence of calm while others scurry around and seek recognition. We will realize that a sense of humility will enable us to learn and grow and step higher. And at other times, we want to tell our busy and unproductive thinking to take a step down and follow the inner longing within us to step into something higher than we might actually even feel comfortable with. In every case, the takeaway from this parable is this: who you are has nothing to do with where you sit or how you are recognized. When we spend our time and energy concerned about outer approval, we miss out on the enjoyment on the feast. It is good to be seen. Let us see ourselves for the amazing, unique gift to the world that we are. Let us be the hosts of our own banquet. Let us be humble. Let us be teachable. Let us give attention to that which is important and sometimes not urgent. And let us invite that which is important and not urgent, and perhaps a longing that we have. Let us invite that up to the front of our banquet so that we can feast with joy on the vibrancy of life. My blessings to you.
I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. And every day I affirm and pray that I'm blessed with everything I have. I release my fear, 'cause it's all so clear. I am held surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. Ooh. And now I see what my life can be when I trust in the process and have faith. And now I know when I just let go that I have all I'll ever need. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I am well, I am well. All is well, all is well. I am well. Ooh-wee.
Please join us on Zoom on Mondays at 10:30 for a time of prayer and meditation. All are welcome to join us as we share a time of connection and renewal, and as we hold people in prayer. At this service, we check in and share with each other. We have a time of guided prayer, and we read the names of the people on our prayer list. It is an uplifting and restful experience. All are welcome. Every Monday from 10:30 a.m. till 11:15 a.m. on Zoom. Please join us.
Gentle reminder that we have a food pantry, which is available and open to anyone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you know someone who would benefit from using our food pantry, please share that information. And if you are willing to donate to the food pantry, please bring your collections of canned goods so that we can put them into the food pantry for people to take with them as they need. Give what you can, take what you feel comfortable taking.
We are grateful for the financial support which we receive from those who enjoy our programs. With the pandemic, some of our expenses have been lessened and some of our expenses don't go away. So thank you for your generosity, which supports our ministry. We give a portion of our income to organizations that do amazing work in our community, both locally and in our province. So your gifts make a difference in lives. We welcome donations by credit card, check, cash, or our preferred method, Interac e-transfer to Unity of New Westminster at gmail.com. Interac is free of service charges. Thank you. Now, please bring to your hands, to your hearts, or to your minds something that you are grateful for as we give thanks and remember how much we have to be grateful for. We are so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we come to the end of another service. I thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed your experience with us today. I wish you all a very, very blessed week. Goodbye, everybody.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now, with every step I take. Let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You of God.